after which we'll have Mr. Santosh Nair motivate us.
Hello, audible? Audible? Thank you, Atul, for de-stressing the audience before I take the stage. अभी इन लोगों ने कहा कि टाइम आपका काटना पड़ेगा. मैंने कहा ठीक है, ये तो जो सवेरे तलवारकर साहब आए उन्होंने मेरा नाम लेके बुलाया कि वुड यू गिव योर थंब ऑफ द टो, उससे अच्छा है वो नहीं काटना पड़ा. So I would take you briefly through or in a minute through what the core value proposition of the Fundu.com is. And I will take a very simple case study to give you one takeaway from this 10-minute presentation on the kind of impact that we intend to create for you. So PPT, yeah. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So the core value proposition that we want to provide to all the advisors over here is U equal to big institutions. So no matter who you are, no matter how your upbringing has been, which college you have been to, what we want to do is whether it takes technology, whether it takes the research, whatever it takes, we would be able to empower you with the kind of quality so that when you go to your clients, you are as confident as anyone else who is coming from any kind of institution under the planet. It might mean facilitating collaboration with the industry for the hand-picked wisdom. It might mean providing you the research that works, that actually works for you, rather than any backward-looking paradigm of selecting investment options, or whether it be increasing your business effectiveness to a level where technology plays such a nice part for you so that you can really operate out of just out of a PC. You can really do a transaction of 500 rupees to 1 lakh rupees at the same cost, which is equal to the transaction of 500 rupees. That is a core value proposition. I'll not get into detail of each and every part of it because we don't have time. However, I will give you a glimpse of the kind of impact we are intending to create with the product that we already have. So I will talk about, okay, which one to press?
Okay,
These two, this is, okay. I'm talking about technology and I didn't know how to operate this. So I'll take an example of the mutual fund research that we do and what is the kind of impact that we intend to create with that. So before I present on the impact of the research that we do, I like you to take away one simple point from this presentation, that past performance does not work. No matter how much that has been hard, no matter how much that has been made mandatory, while any advertisements or any mutual fund articles that we read, it is ingrained in us to look at which are the good or the best performing funds. कौन सा बढ़िया कर रहा है यार, इसमें से कौन सा अच्छा है, किसका fund manager अच्छा है, उसमें invest कर देते हैं. I'll just take you briefly through some research that we did on that. To explain that, I will take a minute to help you understand what this grid is. So to understand if a selection of funds based on the past performance works, we can go back in history. Say we stand as of 31st March 2012. So we are on 31st March 2012, and based on that day, we look at past performance by, say, 2-year return. Using these past performance returns, we percentile rank all the funds on a scale of 1 to 100, and then pick up the best funds out of those. Say if we invest in those funds, and we look at the performance of these funds for the next, say, 2 years or 1 year. So because we are in 2014, we can go back to 31st March 2012, select funds as of 2-year return or 3-year return based on that, and look at the future performance. So if you look at this grid, at the bottom axis, I have the percentile rank as per past performance. So as of 31st March 2012, I take 2-year return, and on the right side, I would have funds which are the best performer, and on the left side, I would have funds which are the worst performer. And then I would look at the same funds, what the returns they have generated over the next 2 years. That is 1st April 2012 to 31st March 2014, right? And I would plot those over here on the y-axis. So the worst performer in the future 2 years, if I am sitting on 31st March 2012, would come at the bottom, and the best performer would be at the top. Now, just to explain where do the best funds and the worst funds will lie. So if a fund which was a top performer by say X year return and happens to give the best returns in future also, that should lie in the top right corner, right? Because best by past and best giving once you have invested into that. A fund that has done worst and will continue to do worst should come in this corner. And the other two corners, so F means future, P means past. So a fund which has done worst in terms of past performance, so past performance this side, worst, and best in terms of future performance should be the corner A. So what we mean is, ideally, if past performance works, this should be the graph that we should be looking at if we look at the past performance versus future performance. Is it clear? So what we are saying is the worst performer funds should be the worst performer in future, best should be the best, the middle should be the middle one, right? If past performance works by any principle. Now, of course, it would not be as perfect, there would be some dispersions on that. So any guesses on what would be the kind of graph when I plot the actual data? Any guesses on that? How much dispersion would be there? So you're saying it would be slightly dispersed? This is the graph with actual data. So if you look at it, there is absolutely no trend. Absolutely no trend. So let me explain. If you look at the column B and D, that vertical part, those were the best performing funds, some 20 funds. And if you look at their future performance, they have been divided from C to A, right? So there are just 4 or 5 funds which remained the best performer in the next, when you actually invested and tried to get the return. And 5 out of 20 or 25 is 20% or 25%. So essentially this entire thing is as random as anything. You rather not look at past returns, you pick up by alphabetical order or whatever order, you'll get the same thing if you are dependent on past performance. So now let's come to case studies, the backtesting that we try to do, how would our ratings work and how better things, how better mutual fund research can be done. So this one we had looked at 2-year return, then there are proponents of the theory that longer history works. So we said, okay, let's look at 5-year return in history and 5-year return going ahead. So 2009, sitting now as of 2009, 31st March, we picked top funds based on the past 5 years performance and then looked at performance from 2009 to 2014, and still it is as random as anything. So just the simple point I want to drive it as, just implant this graph in your mind. It is, the past performance is as good as a random walk or as bad as a random walk. So the common question, which fund, how to select? So there's a guy who wants to select a fund and wants to invest in, or an advisor wants to help a client, and he really wants to help a client pick up a good fund. So what does he do? So typically you have 1-year return and 3-year return, the key returns that are reported. He says, okay, let me look at 3-year returns. Let me do some kind of jugglery backtesting and look at, if I select funds by 3-year return, how much return would they give me 1 year after I have invested in that? So he gets 11.7% return. The exact numbers of not of matter. What is of matter? It is less than category average. So you would rather, again, you're not good off investing in by selecting using the 3-year return. So next he says is, okay, maybe the momentum plays a part. Why not look at 1-year return? Because a fund which has been doing well recently should be doing well in future as well. The result, he is marginally able to beat the category average, but it's still not convincing, right? So he says, let me look at a longer history of 5-year return, because if a fund is doing good for 5 years, there is something good into it. Fairly okay, it is doing better than 1-year return. But if you look at it, there is no trend in this. If longer history was better, then 3 years should be doing better than 1 year and 5 years should be doing better than 3 years. But that is not working out, there is no trend. As much as data shows you the truth, as much as it shows the lie also. So the curation of data and understanding data is very important. And over here, there is something which it is hiding or it is not perfectly showing, which to me, I believe that past performance does not really work because it is not able to show any kind of trend. So he says, okay, let me merge 1 year, 3 year, 5 year return. I will capture everything. कहीं कुछ छुपा होगा, कहीं कुछ छुपा होगा, निकल के आ जाएगा. He merges it and goes below the category average. Then he thinks, यार risk नहीं लिया. फंड अच्छा कर रहे होंगे, रिस्की होगा, इसलिए मेरा जो है रिटर्न कट गया होगा. लेट मी मिक्स अ रिस्क पैरामीटर. 1, 3, 5 ईयर रिटर्न लेते हैं और रिस्क को भी ऐड कर देते हैं. ही इज स्टिल बिलो द कैटेगरी एवरेज. सो नाउ ही थिंक्स that there must be something beyond this. I mean, typically, what would an investor do? What would you do? I mean, you have these kind of things which are available to you. You can pull out the data in Excel, give some weightages, merge these parameters, and try to find out returns. But that is not working, and that we also saw in the graphs that I showed you. So there is something which beyond past performance that explains returns, right? So, sorry, yeah. So just I'll take a moment off and fine. So I'll take a moment off and try to explain why does past performance, we should not look at past performance. जब stocks में investing करते हैं तो दो तरह के investors होते हैं. एक होते हैं day traders. 2 दिन invest करना है, put call ले लो, square off कर दो, आज रात को market में shock आया, ये करो, वो करो. They are traders. They look at DMAs, moving averages, and based on the returns, they try to predict the returns. Momentum game, XYZ kind of thing, but they are short-term investors. Then there are mutual fund managers who do fundamental-based investing, and they invest for long-term, right? So they look at the fundamentals of the company, because if the company is doing good, it is competitive in the sector, it is better than its peers, and the sector is growing, then there are all reasons to invest in that company. So there are fundamental reasons for investment for long-term, and past return is not a fundamental parameter. Think of it, mutual fund. Mutual fund is a mix of stocks, right? And when you cannot, for the long term, using the return, you cannot predict the behavior of a stock, how can you predict the behavior of a mutual fund just by past returns? So you need something more than that. Now what can be a fundamental analysis of a mutual fund? Fundamental analysis of a mutual fund can be what is generating returns. Now what is generating returns are the skills of the fund manager, right? Not whether he has been able to generate return in the past or not. And how can we measure the skills of the fund manager? By looking at where he invests, trying to find a cause-effect relationship. And there's a technique used specifically for that, which is called performance attribution. I would not get into details of it, but broadly what it tries to find out is, if I am a large cap fund manager, it will try to find out whether I am generating returns and alpha from large cap stocks or not. So I might be intoxicating my fund with mid caps and generating alpha from there. So if that is the case, I would be caught for style purity, and I would not be rewarded by that technique. It also scrutinizes whether as a fund manager I am generating returns from skill or luck. My skills are concentrated in a particular sector, or I am doing good across sectors. Of course, I cannot be good across all sectors all the time, but are my skills diversified? Do I only know asset allocation, sector allocation, or I also know stock picking? Do I know this across the sectors? Have I showed this skill across the time period? If yes, then we can establish a case that yes, there are genuine skills present in the fund manager, and if there are skills present in the fund manager, there's a very good chance that this guy would deliver, irrespective of whether past 6 months has been green, red, above the average or below the average. And that is what we try to deploy in the research that we do. Just to give a background of this, we do a lot of work for large financial institutions, AMCs, and insurance companies who use our products for portfolio management and risk management. And that is where this thought came up. When we are able to provide these kind of products to financial institutions, why not leverage the same analytics for the other part of the value chain? Why can't we empower you to use the same kind of analytics and take you to a different level altogether? And we use that on all publicly available data to come up with mutual fund research that makes sense, that works. So we try to capture, performance drivers to pick funds that work. And so if you look at the performance based on that, it is 18%, almost 3% above the category average, and almost 2% above the best that could have been selected using 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year return. I'm selecting the best. I'm not selecting 1, 3, 5 and return or risk mixed up. Now, what this kind of, so in some periods it can be 2%, somewhere at 1.5 or something. But what I'm trying to say is this is a process way, this is a logical way of finding funds that can work. And in the long term, that this can always keep your portfolio in the pink of the health. Not necessarily it will always give you the best performer. The target is not that. What this 2% of extra return can create an impact. You would know percentages better than me, you are in the business, but just for that analysis, over a 25-year investment horizon, if you have a client with whom you are working for 25 years, you are impacting the client wealth by 50%. A good 50%. So rather than 8.5 crore, 12.7 crore at a 25,000 invested per month for 30 years. So that's a huge impact that can be created if you use data the right way. And we are all committed to use these kind of data sciences to present the best to you. So I just wanted to present a case study of one of the things that we have been doing. There are many other things on the platform that we are bringing it, be it in terms of technology, be it in terms of reporting, which will empower you in your interactions with the client, in doing your business better, in doing your business in the most effective way. That's what we call the rise of advisors. Thank you.